Welcome to the ServiceMaster podcast, an insight into the world of franchising from ServiceMaster Brands. Here's your host, Tom Page.
This month, CJ Micallef, the Commercial Director of ServiceMaster Clean Contract Services Manchester and the daughter of the franchise owners Martin and Sarah Steeman, was awarded Great British Franchisee status by the franchising giant Which Franchise, placing her among the top 15 franchisees in the country and making her the third successive ServiceMaster Clean Contract Services franchisee to receive this award since their inception in 2020. I sat down with CJ to catch up about her win, from her route into franchising to her top tips for someone looking to buy a cleaning franchise. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you were doing prior to the franchise business?
Well, I've been in the business 17 years, 18 this October. So I started in 2005 and I'm the daughter of the owners who are now pretty much retired or pretty much on their way out. So before I joined the business, I had a career in retail management. So I worked for big companies like Sainsbury's, McDonald's and Starbucks, and I had an 8-year career doing that sort of thing before I decided to join the family business, before my arm was twisted up my back.
Brilliant. Can you tell us a bit about the franchise that you operate?
So we are ServiceMaster Contract Services Manchester. We've held that license since January 1991. So we're in our 31 year. That business initially was purchased by the owners, Sarah and Martin Steeman, and that was for South Manchester. So that particular business, the focus is commercial office cleaning, and that's what it was back then. It really was just offices. But over the years and through the development of our expertise and our people and our customer base in terms of our reputation, we've branched out into lots more different sectors such as schools, hotels, housing, industrial, healthcare. We expanded the South Manchester territory to pick up the north side of Manchester in 2008, and we felt that we needed to expand because at the time all the local authorities became one and became like Greater Manchester. So it seemed silly really not to kind of develop that area, and that's what we've been doing ever since.
Brilliant. And can you talk a little bit about why your parents went down the franchising route and why they chose the cleaning industry in particular?
So back in the very early 90s, I think for those that remember, there was the Great Recession, I think of 1992. And prior to them purchasing the franchise, they were both in very, very big sales jobs for big advertising companies based down south. They saw the way the world was going. They were making a lot of money for other people. A person that they knew was already operating a very successful ServiceMaster franchise in and around the Nottinghamshire area. And they just thought, we know what we're doing. We've got good business sense. Why don't we do it ourselves? So that's what they did. They packed up, sold everything, sold houses. I was 11 years old and we moved to Manchester. We're originally from this part of the world, but there we go. So we moved back and they decided that they were going to put their savings rather than buy a home. So we rented a home, buy all their savings, everything that they had into this franchise. And they saw that cleaning was a valuable proposition in the sense that it was a service that people needed. It was almost recession proof in the sense that there's always somebody there. You weren't at risk of having to be out of work because there's always a job for somebody. And there was money to be made, but money that was gradual and safe and a good way to do it by employing people and giving value back into creating sustainable employment for other people. So that's what happened. They started it at the back of a conservatory. And they literally went out cleaning themselves. I think they didn't employ a manager for the first year and a half. And I think they employed about 2 cleaners and they were just cleaning everything, including myself. I was commandeered to go out. And that was my first exposure to the business. It was a very big moment when the first branded yellow estate car was bought, much to my horror as a teenager. Uh, but you know, we were out and about, and we had advertising, and it just grew and grew and grew.
Fantastic. And did that mean that you didn't really need any sort of formal training and support when you started, or when you sort of took over, was there further training and support?
Yeah, no, I did, because I'd come from a world of big business where there was systems and procedures, there was departments, and things kind of ran for you. You just had to kind of do the daily day running of that particular company. So for me, I applied actually. A vacancy came up for the key account manager. I was tipped off that it'd be good for me to go for it. I'd got to the point in my career where I was working with Starbucks where I couldn't really progress any faster where I wanted to be. I was already running stores, but I wanted to do more. And I thought, you know what, let's go for it. I like the idea that I'd be out meeting different people, meeting different customers, working different hours a day, because I wasn't a 9 to 5 person. I was quite a shift workery person. So my introduction was very much learning how to manage a tangible service rather than a transactional one. You know, people weren't buying coffees and cakes or shopping. You know, we were providing a service through a person that 90% of the time that customer couldn't see. So it was all about giving that customer that wow factor by managing the service as opposed to them seeing it. So that took quite a lot for me to learn and get my head around, and understand the problems that come with the industry. You know, people don't necessarily always speak great English. People don't always turn up when they say they're going to turn up, and all the bespoke requirements that a client wanted and how to manage that. So I was dropped in quite the deep end, but I had training from people that were in the business in terms of all the systems. I had training out in the field, and I actually spent 3 days with ServiceMaster London actually within my first year to kind of really understand the operation, because the hardest part of cleaning is the operation. So yeah, and then as I've grown within the industry, I've had external training, I've had leadership training, I've done MVQs, I've got professional development type of qualifications in project management and negotiation skills and things like that. So yeah, the company's very much about training. It's always about improving and becoming better at what you do.
And how would you describe your day-to-day role as a franchisee, or in what you do?
In terms of heading it up, I would say I love going to work. It's brilliant. You know, it's so varied. You can be dealing with you know, a deep clean in the morning, and then, you know, £300,000 contract in the afternoon. You meet so many different people, you get to go and see so many different types of customers and understand how their sector works and what's important to their business. So cleaning is a really hard industry. It's not for everybody. It's very reactive as well as being proactive. So you've got to spin a lot of plates all at once. You know, managing a team of 300 plus staff and over 200 customers operating on over 600 sites now every day. There's a lot of background management and support and systems and processes that people have to be following, people have to be monitoring. And it's always looking at what we can do differently, what we can do next. So for me, every day is a challenge, but it makes you a better person, makes you stronger, and it makes you more experienced and ultimately a better leader, I think.
Great. And could you provide a little bit about your key successes today, or some of your well, start with key successes today.
Oh, winning this award. That's a big one. And I think I just want to kind of point out, really, this is a big one. You know, the company haven't won this for many, many years. And you know, we have been in business 31 years, and it's the sort of thing that you probably just forget about because you just do it all the time. This is what you do. But I think winning this particularly on the back of the last couple of years with COVID and the challenges that presented to the sector and our business. It's such a wonderful award to be part of, because this is for everybody, and it's recognised outside of our franchise, or and it's recognised by independent people. So that's an amazing key success that we're all going to benefit from in the future, and hopefully do more of as well, in terms of a platform for other awards. But no, I mean, I think December was great. We just won the biggest contract the company's ever won, which is for a very, very large housing association across Greater Manchester, and that has just propelled us in terms of next level of growth. More opportunities for people, more development, employing more people. There's been so many. We've run ISO accreditation since 2010, and we're externally audited every single year. And the last 2 years have been all 3 standards, all combined, and the auditor hasn't found a single thing wrong, which was really good, and testament to the people that I work alongside for doing things the right way. Yeah, there's just I can't think. I've been here too long.
That's brilliant, thank you. You talked a bit about COVID there. Could you talk a little bit about how you had to adapt and some of the steps that you took to manage the business during COVID?
Yeah, COVID was a tricky time for anybody, and most businesses, I think, out there when it happened. It was one of those where we just started seeing the clients coming in saying, we're going to have to close, we're going to have to cancel, and it was like a flood of them. And it was like, what do? We can't just shut shop and make everyone redundant. So with the news of the furlough, that really kind of, nobody had knowledge of furlough, nobody knew what to do with it. It was a whole new thing to learn. But we just got in there, got started with it, which meant we could prevent everybody from losing their jobs, especially the cleaning staff out in the field. So 60% of our business closed overnight. That left us with 40% running essential service type of contracts, so schools that were open, healthcare facilities, industrial type of things that we're having to deliver and take things to people. We were part of that in terms of cleaning those type of facilities. But yeah, it was a challenge, but when things started to get a little bit more out of it and things reopened, it was even further of a challenge for Manchester, because we were in tier 4 restrictions. We just never seemed to come out of it. But with that meant growth in a different way. A lot of businesses that had never had cleaning before needed something quite quickly to put in place to get their office back open or their facility. So we really did exceptionally well in terms of that period, in terms of getting people back in, building things back up. But it also meant that we could focus and spend more time on getting different accreditations. So we became part of the membership with BICS, and we did successfully got that. We became a recognised service provider for the real living wage. So we changed a lot of the things that we wanted to do to be better going forward. And COVID meant that cleaning staff were put on the map. People noticed them, cared about them, wanted them to be protected, and wanted them to be paid properly. So for us, we just grew and grew and grew. So what we lost, because not only did we lose 60% overnight, we lost 3 months revenue because you couldn't bill anybody. But within that, we also had 10 cancellations of customers who were never going to reopen, that equated to like £500,000. So to try and find that, bring that back, and then grow on top, we just went from strength to strength. So we put £1 million sales turnover just in that period. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
Winners and losers in COVID, but I'd like to think we were winners.
Yeah, definitely. Has working for CS Manchester changed your life in any way, and how, if so?
Well, it's because it's been such a big part of my life.
Yeah.
It's changed in the sense of how I've grown as a person, in terms of being able, I've got the confidence. Perhaps 5-6 years ago, I wouldn't have been sat here now, in the sense of feeling comfortable in my own skin that I can do this. I think because we have such great people working with us who are, knowledgeable and experienced, that just makes you feel better about what you do, and makes, on a personal journey, know that what I'm doing is the right thing. I've learned so much from people over the years, so much from our customers, from our staff, and also how to work in a family business, which is not always easy. There's been some ups and downs with that over the years. But yeah, I think I wouldn't change it for the world. And I think working in a franchise, whoever you are, gives you the independence and the creativity to make your job or your role or your aspirations come true. Whereas corporate big businesses, there's not always the opportunity to do that.
And in doing that, how have you been able to achieve a work-life balance in your career?
Well, I'm a mum of one now who's only 3. So for me, that work-life balance had to happen when I had a child.
Yeah.
And before that, I was quite committed. I am committed, but I was, I didn't have a need to say, right, I need to stop working now. So yeah, being a parent brings other challenges. But it also makes you look at your business and think, I can't be the person doing all these things. I need other people. I need people to be skilled in this. I need to share what I know. I need to pass on my knowledge. I need people who can excel and deliver when I'm not there. And that's exactly how I now have a good work-life balance. Yeah, and I have more time to strategize and think about the business, as much as even though we're in midst of growth at the moment, there's still that time to sort of hit the pause button because everything is still carrying on and being done around me.
Amazing. And obviously you're saying it's about a lot having the right staff, and the best staff. How do you retain your best staff, and how do you keep sort of the morale high and incentivize them for success and recognize that success?
Well, we have quite a unique program in terms of staff and recognition program, and so for that involves everybody from cleaners right through to head office staff. So we do above and beyond rewards regularly. When we get really positive customer feedback, we share that with everybody. We make a feature of that and we reward that person who's had that above and beyond moment. We do refer a friend schemes so that we have a lot of cleaning staff who benefit from introducing people, which helps the turnover, so that keeps it low. We develop and train people. I've got a lot of staff at the moment who have particular routes they want to go down, so it's looking at the business where we can accommodate that and give them that opportunity which will benefit them and the business. So we're able to skill those people in terms of keeping that skill within. We do lots of social nights out, team building sessions, and generally it's about, I think really the main ingredient is being approachable and listening to people and getting them involved with their ideas. When a member of staff can see their idea come into fruition and be part of then a process that we do day to day, that's the best accolade really. And it's those people that give you those ideas and help you make a better business. So yeah, I like to think they're paid well for what they do. We also recently have just launched an incentive award where they get an extra percentage this year on the growth that we've achieved, and so that is open to everybody, whether you're processing payroll or whether you're out in the field operating those staff. So everybody gains, and that helps them around.
Yeah, definitely see that. I know you guys do a lot in terms of community involvement, and I know in December, for example, you were working with Bolton at Home and things like that. Could you talk a little bit about your community involvement, local partnerships, and the charity work that you do a little bit?
Yeah, so we run different things throughout the year. Sometimes they're not always coordinated, like set things. They might be just, spur of the moment things. But yes, we do quite a lot of delivering packages for vulnerable people with our housing customers. Particularly when they're running initiatives, we help volunteer, get involved with that. We like to do group litter picks for our housing clients as well. But we also run things like raffles for one of the hospices that we clean, and we donate. We do this thing every year, particularly for one of our hospices, where they have a big Christmas tree light switch on to remember all those people that have been through the hospice, and we have a Christmas tree, if you like, that is purchased for them, and all the money goes towards what they need in terms of funding. We do things like coffee mornings, and we also plant trees for all our customers, which is done based on number of employees at site. So we're able to kind of help with the environment as well as the social value. Recently, we sponsored a local sort of schools teenage rugby team, able to help promote what they were doing on their tour. Just really through connections of people that already work in ServiceMaster, we're able to make that happen. But this year is a little bit different, because this year we're trying to kind of coordinate our community involvement, because we have that many commitments and different things to help different people. You can't help everybody, but we want to. So we're trying to strategically do something each quarter that will benefit the wider community. So rather than just say do something for Bolton at home, that is kind of spread out to help, like the toy appeals that we do, or the Macmillan things that we do. So we try and do our bit where we can. Oh, we also sponsored, we sponsor a swarm of bees, would you believe it, and a queen bee. We did that for over in Lancashire, and that's to help the bee colonies and repopulate the pollen, so that it's a bit of a biodiversity type of thing that we do there.
Fantastic. And obviously you're speaking now as a Great British franchisee, as the creme de la creme of British franchising. What would you say is the most invaluable piece of advice that you could give to somebody looking to buy their first franchise or to run their business?
I think it's yours, it's your own. You can make it what you want it to be. Depending on what franchise you do or what that is, obviously the objective is to have a long, happy, sustainable business, so that you can benefit from that, your families can benefit, but also the staff that you can employ. And it's about owning something and being integral to it and passionate. If you care about what you do and you want to make a difference, whether that's cleaning, whether that's fixing cars, whether that's all sorts of different types of businesses, it can be your own. And even though I don't own this business, I feel very much part of that.
And in your opinion, what makes a successful franchisee?
I think it's always about planning ahead, and it's it's thinking, like, we have a 5-year business plan that we update and review each year, and it's about always striving for the next thing, in terms of keeping that business profitable, keeping it secure, but growing at a rate that everybody can cope with without compromising any service out there to your customers who are your bread and butter. I think it's about having good business acumen, and it's learning from others. It's about being interested. You've got to want to make it work. You've got to want to put the hours in. You've got to want to start at the bottom and get your hands dirty. In our world, you've got to know how to clean a toilet. You can't just come in and have never cleaned a toilet. It's very important how you clean it. If you understand the challenges that in the sector that you're operating in, then you'll be a better business leader, because you'll be able to overcome them.
Definitely. And speaking of the future there, what are your plans for the future?
Well, we do have quite an aggressive growth plan in place, in terms of we're now just touching 4.3 million. So a little bit more than I originally thought when I put the application in, because of our recent success. I'm hoping that we will hit the next milestone of 5 million within the next 12 to 18 months. A lot of plans, really, in terms of I want us to be kind of a leader in housing and education, and I want us to be have that quality reputation that we already have out there. I just want people to just know when they want a commercial cleaner, well, let's ring ServiceMaster. I just think the world's your oyster, and with Manchester we only have like 1% share. There's so much business out there, and that means employing more people. That's giving them opportunities. And we've had cleaners that have worked for us in terms of our direct operators out in the field for some over 15, 20 years, and a good majority of those are in the 5 to 10 years. So that's important. It's about promoting those people, giving those people career opportunities. Don't like to stand still. There's no need.
And then looking back, then, if you had to do it all again, is there anything you would do differently?
I thought about this the other day, and I thought, do you know what? I might have listened more and learned more, and perhaps had a bit more of a patient approach sometimes. I think sometimes when you're in the thick of things, and you don't always reach out to the people that have done it before, and perhaps took note when you should have. I think I would have listened to my parents more, since they were the ones who did it and made a success of it. So I don't think there's anything I would have done differently critically, because the good thing for me is I've done every role in the business. So I think that's vital to making your business a success, because then you know where the problems are and what the challenges are and how to overcome them.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Thank you for listening. I hope you found that conversation insightful. If your interest has been piqued by anything discussed here and you'd like to know more about starting your own recession-proof franchise business, get in touch with the ServiceMaster franchise sales team today by emailing franchisesales@servicemaster.co.uk or give us a call on 0116 275 9000.